let's just hope that this transmission stays in check and we don't have to shut it down, right, to cool off the transmission, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I mean, at these temperatures, you're still not really looking at blowing up your transmission or anything. It's more just degrading the fluid as it starts to get really warm.
We're at 243 on a tranny.
Yeah, we're getting up there.
I'm getting a little bit nervous now. To diesel or not to diesel?
Well, that is the question, isn't it, Andre?
Exactly, and we have the answer because we have the all-new 2024 Chevy Silverado heavy-duty truck with a gas V8, and we can compare it exactly to a turbo diesel one.
Because we did this exact same test with the exact same trailer with the diesel version of the truck.
And we'll find out how the new 10-speed matches with a new gas engine on the iGauntlet World's Toughest Towing Test.
Coming right now.
The truck we have here today is a crew cab with a fairly large standard bed, which is 6 feet 10 inches long. It's a 4x4, it's an LTZ, it's pretty fancy. But here's the biggest difference between a gas engine truck and a diesel. The Duramax V8 costs almost $9,500 extra. So is it worth it? This is why we're doing this video. We're about to start our downhill.
We're about to come out of the Eisenhower Tunnel to test now the gas version of this Chevy 2500.
Dude, I've been waiting for this for so long because, you know, this new engine, the 6.6 liter gas V8 came out in like 4 years ago almost.
Yeah.
2020. But it was made into a 6-speed, but now finally they have a 10-speed Allison branded transmission with this one.
Which is going to be massively helpful, especially here in the mountains with our steep 7% grade on the iGauntlet.
That's what it says up there.
Yeah, for 7 miles.
Yep. All right, so exited the tunnel, 50 miles an hour. We're going to be counting brake applications as always, which means I don't want to go over the speed limit, right? So speed limit is 60. So as soon as I touch 61, I'm going to break it down to 50. And then we're going to see how the transmission and the engine help us.
And of course, it's massively important to count our brake applications because if you're trailering here in the mountains like we are today, then using up your surface brakes can be a concern.
Yeah, because they can overheat. It could be a huge safety problem.
Yeah, they can fade.
So that was one. It did downshift quite nicely a couple times, but now we're accelerating already again.
Yeah, back to 60 already.
So this is number 2.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever suffered from the fact that you're not very good at wiring or soldering, or you're using absolutely the inappropriate types of bonding or twisties or plumber's tape or even clamps to hold together wiring? Is that a problem for you? Well, we may have a solution.
I've spent hundreds of dollars on different solutions which are all broken or I don't have 3 hands to use.
But that's going to change. The solution to your problem is solder stick. This is an awesome little component that allows you to heat up the wires and make sure that they're properly bonded and they're waterproof. All right, and pull. All right.
Solid connection.
Solid connection. So go to the link below or solderstick.com to get yours.
Here's the really cool thing about today's test, because people reach out to us all the time asking, should I spend the money, $9,500 in this case, to get the diesel engine, or will I be okay with a gasser? And we've done this exact test with this exact trailer and weight with the diesel version of this truck. Now we get to do the gas.
Yeah, and of course the diesel, I mean, like you said, it's a lot more costly to buy. It's more costly to maintain long term, but it has an exhaust brake, right? Because it has a turbocharger and it's able to slow you down. And in the diesel truck, we did 1 brake application.
Yeah, which we've already exceeded.
3, now this is 3.
Mr. Truck. Yes.
Guess what?
What?
1 brake application.
1 brake applications and 2 grade shifts. That's great.
Yes.
But that gives you confidence for these big frickin' trailers like this one. My gosh, this is one of the tallest RV trailers I've ever seen at 13.5.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's like a semi, they're 13.6.
So here's the thing. I did use a little bit of cruise control on the way down.
Yeah.
I never saw my gain meter go because when I pushed my brake,
Yes.
you know how the gain, you could see the output of
It
it?
gives you how much output, yes.
But I never saw that, which means that was truly one brake application.
Yeah, so that means even with all the stuff you did, the cruise control on,
Yeah.
it still brakes like it's supposed to.
Without using friction brakes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's downshifting okay. I'm fairly happy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it is great shifting pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
Which is always good to see. And again, it's one of the good things about this transmission versus the old 6-speed. You've just got more gears to choose from. And that's going to be another big thing when we do the uphill. We've got, about half the torque of the diesel here. So having those extra gears is going to be pretty important. And there's only one axle ratio that you can have on this gas truck.
Right. So GM is doing something kind of a little different, right? For example, Ford gives you several options, right? You can get even a 430 or a 355. GM says you pick an engine, you get one ratio for the axle. That's another one. How many is that?
That's 4.
4. Well, thanks to our friends at CompleteTrailers.com, we got access to the identical trailer we used last time.
It's a massive ATC game changer toy hauler trailer, 13.5 feet tall and 36 feet long?
Yeah, this is a 3619 model. That's what they call it. It's all aluminum, super luxurious, super nice. Let's show what's inside. What do you think, dude? You haven't been in one of these before, right?
No, we got a whole kitchen, we've got a bedroom up front, and look at all the space we have for parking.
We have garage. And today we're using this as ballast. This is our Polaris Ranger with a lot of accessories as well.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of Milwaukee tools on it. And so that is what we're using to add a little bit of extra weight to this trailer to get it to that 14,000 pound mark.
And check this out. Like I said, all aluminum construction. We have tie-down rails. You could put upwards almost like 5,000 pounds of stuff in here.
Yeah, which is really nice.
Which is crazy.
This trailer at about 14,000 pounds, how does it feel in stability?
Dude, it's great. We also get a lot of questions about should I buy a dually or not for towing a big camper, right? And we don't have a dually today, obviously. And I would say this trailer is a 3619 ATC toy hauler, right?
Yeah.
And I would say this is probably as large as you want to do with a single rear wheel.
Right.
If you're towing longer trailers, they can go up to like 43 feet, 45 feet. You really, the wind will start to push you around a lot. This is probably as big as I would tow with this truck.
Yeah, and this is brake application 5. And our transmission temp isn't concerning.
No, it's been, we had to come here, right? So we've towed about 70 miles up the mountain. So the transmission remained about the same temp. And it's also very impressive. The engine, the coolant temps are in check as well. So far this truck is doing really well.
Yeah, all good on that front.
Like the sticker says, we have about 4,462 pounds of total payload on this trailer. And the gross vehicle weight on this trailer is about 16.8, so it's pretty massive. By the way, Complete Trailers have dealerships in Texas, Colorado, and California, so if you're in any of these regions, check them out. They have really high quality stuff. Yeah, this is a little bit of an issue. The distance between the trailer, this fifth wheel, and the bed rail. Mr. Truck and I saw this last time, and we see it again here.
Yeah, that's fine when you're on flat ground, but we're here in the mountains, and especially out here, there's plenty of times where you get fairly articulated, and that can get pretty close, but there are solutions to that, aren't there?
Yeah, like our friends at Gen Y Hitch, they have different attachments. You could raise the trailer a little bit. You can have cushion, right, torsion flex hitches that they have. So check out genyhitch.com in the link below, and you could solve this problem. We didn't have it today, but we could. Well, dude, you know what? I was thinking that if we did 10 brake applications, it would be kind of like average.
Yeah, because that's what the 6-speed truck did, right?
Right.
With the gas engine.
The 6-speed truck was towing a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
We had that one loaded to about 16,000 pounds.
Right.
So it had a disadvantage there.
Yeah.
But if we stay at 6 brake applications, I think that'd be a pretty good result.
Yeah, that would be. That would be pretty decent. Obviously, nothing like what you would get with a diesel. That's just one of the big perks of spending that extra money to get that powertrain. But still, well within reason. I mean, this is a 7-mile stretch, so if we're having to hit the brakes every mile or so, that's not that bad.
Exactly, and I still have perfect control. You know, the brake pedal is still there, obviously.
Yeah, which is good.
We haven't overheated anything, so we're doing really great. So that's the final call. 6 brake applications.
Not bad at all.
Nice. Now let's go up the mountain.
Now, when you and Mr. Truck did the HD diesel version of this Chevy, you noticed that this line where the trailer mounts up is actually a little behind the axle. It's what, 3 inches behind?
Yeah, and this is what they did when they redesigned this truck, right, in 2020. And of course, this is the same now. If you had an 8-foot bed, it would be a different story. But, you know, 8-foot beds sometimes are hard to maneuver. So this is what we have.
Yeah, and I know Mr. Truck was concerned that maybe this was going to take too much weight off the front axle, but we have here our results from running this whole setup over the scale, and we're over 4,000 pounds on the front axle.
And the steering capability is still there. I mean, so Mr. Truck was a little bit worried, but I think there's nothing to worry about.
Yep, that dashes our fears.
We are taking on the world's toughest towing test.
Uphill.
Over 11,000 feet above sea level, 7% grade, 8 miles. All right, so as always, we're gonna start at 35 miles per hour, which I'm hoping to reach.
Yep.
33.
We're almost there.
34. 35. There we go. Are you ready? And now.
All right, I've got the timer started, and we're accelerating up to 60, the speed limit. Now,
Yes.
the diesel version of this truck did this in 17 seconds.
Yeah. Something tells me this is gonna take a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, 16 and now 17, so we're already past that point.
You ready?
Cowboys on our way up.
Set timer now. It's going?
Yep.
All right, so I'll tell you when I hit 60. I'm pedal to the metal, maximum. My Banks iDash gauge says 190 for MAD.
Wow, this
And
is that new horsepower and torque
60.
engine.
60.
Oh, it was like 17.
Just under 17 seconds.
Yes.
So this is about 35 to 60 mile an hour in acceleration. That wasn't too bad.
We're closing in on it. 55.
55. And this is basically showing the effects of elevation, right?
Yeah, big time.
I'll tell you, 58, 59. 60.
All right, that was about 44 seconds.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's
it's-
not quite as fast.
No, that's not very fast. And this is a heavy trailer. And again, I mean, we're over a mile, well over a mile above sea level.
Definitely. We're
closer
approaching 2 miles.
Yeah, closer to 2 miles above sea level here. And so our air density, which we can actually see on our Banks gauge here, it's a lot lower.
It's 66.7% right now. Basically, we lost a third of air density,
Yeah.
which means this engine used to make 401 horsepower.
Yeah.
Now it's below 300 horsepower.
Yeah, subtract a third of that. And you know, those effects for an engine that's got forced induction, it limits the effect of not having as much oxygen up here, but for a naturally aspirated engine like this, it's tough.
Dude, this hood scoop is fake.
Oh, I feel shorted.
Wait, where's our diesel intake?
Oh, we don't got it because this is the 6.6 gas way down there.
Look at how much space there is.
I know,
If
there's
this-
room for a supercharger.
I know. How about that, Chevy? Can you supercharge this puppy?
Yeah, so what we're looking at, obviously 6.6 liter gas V8, 401 horsepower, 464 pound-feet of torque. It's an engine that's been around for a little while now.
Yeah, and when it first launched in 2020, I was actually with Chevrolet team, and I asked them if there was like a marketing term or like a nickname. It does have a code, L8T,
Yep.
but there's no name, so I want to create one.
Yeah, and we might need your guys' help to come up with a name for this engine.
I had a sleepless night, and I came up with this, Tiger Jet.
Yeah, because there used to be a turbojet engine.
Yep.
So maybe this could be the Tiger Jet.
So what do you guys think? Let us know. But of course, the biggest news is the transmission, right? It's made it to a 10-speed Allison branded transmission, which gives you more options, better acceleration, hopefully, more efficiency, all the good things.
Yeah, no longer have to contend with a 6-speed. We've got a lot more gears to choose from, and on the mountain, that's going to be useful. So we're struggling on the up here.
So my foot is in the firewall.
45, 44.
It needs to shift down.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't shifted down because we're just over 3,000 RPM now. The peak power on this engine is closer to 5,000 RPM.
Yeah, well, the maximum horsepower is rated at 5,200 RPM. Our red line is around, what, 55-ish maybe? 5,500 RPM. So, and temperatures are okay. My transmission is at 205 Fahrenheit. My engine coolant temp is at 192. That's actually good temperatures.
Yes. Oh, so okay.
There it goes.
So there it goes. Now it's finally downshifted, which I'm surprised it didn't do earlier.
Do you want to check the sound levels?
Yeah. Now because we are wrung out, we want to use our sound meter here to see what the sound is, and we'll get quiet for a second here. It's around 63 decibels, which is really actually not bad, especially considering how wrung out we are.
Yeah, so anything under 70 decibels is pretty great. The quietest truck we've ever tested, I think there were two. You and I tested the Hummer EV. That was super quiet.
Makes sense.
Electric. And also the Tundra was around 60 decibels.
Yeah.
So those were the quietest trucks.
Yeah, so this is in pretty good company there. I mean, that's 63 is not bad, even though, again, we are wrung out pretty high.
And look at this, we're approaching 5,200 RPM, which is maximum power of this engine. And it's maintaining about 48 miles per hour.
We're not holding nearly the speed limit here, which is how we are able to get a perfect time on the way up.
Which would be 8 minutes, right?
Which would be 8 minutes, and that's essentially what the diesel version of this truck did. It did an 8-minute, 6-second uphill run. The older gas-powered version of this, with the 6-speed, did 11 minutes, 53 seconds.
That was slow.
So we'll see if we can beat that.
And I think we have a chance. All right, guys, we are almost at the top. I'm gonna stop the clock when we cross our traffic light here. You're still down, foot down, right?
Wide open throttle. I haven't taken my foot off of it since very soon after we launched.
So here we go. 2.4 miles per gallon and 11 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yep, 2.4 miles a gallon.
11 minutes and 53. 2.4. Well, that's the result.
About 8 miles.
With the heavy trailer. So we were looking this up, right? So the first gear, because, well, first of all, we have more gearing, right? Because we have 10 speeds versus 6. The first gear is actually geared quite a bit lower than the 6-speed first gear was, right?
Yeah, it's about 4.5. It's 4.54 versus 4.03 in the old 6-speed truck. Both of these trucks, this and the older 6-speed, were 373 rear end ratios. So that aspect, they're the same.
Yeah.
And also same engine.
Yeah, same output. We're basically maxed out on payload. We have 3,234 pounds of payload, and because this trailer is so massive, it's using almost all of it up. And we have about 3 inches of squat. How do I know we have 3 inches of squat? Well, if we look at the bump stop by the axle, there's about an inch left. And this was exactly the same as we saw with the diesel truck when we tested the diesel version of this vehicle. So squat is actually not too bad. I mean, it's kind of going downhill, but not too bad. Well, because this is a fancier LTZ, right, we have an updated dash, which is a huge improvement, I think.
Yeah, this new generation of truck has made leaps forward when it comes to the interior, and there's a lot of towing tech that comes with the premium package that's added to this truck.
Exactly. So, of course, this trailering app is here. We'll have an update on this. So this is mainly climbing the mountain as well. So I want to see what this ends up at as far as fuel efficiency when we come down the mountain. I predefined the trailer. We have a lot of options here with a checklist. You've seen this before. If you've seen our videos, you can define trailer tire monitoring system for tire pressures and light checks. And we have cameras. Just plethora of different cameras.
Look at all those camera views. That's pretty good.
Hey, we can see our staircase into our trailer.
Yeah, we don't want to take off, and we know that.
Yeah. And there's one button that's missing. It's my exhaust brake.
Yep.
So that's exactly what we're trying to test. My brake controller is here, which is really handy, very nice. So it's quite a fancy truck, but how much money of options does it have?
Well, the base price on this model of truck is $61,000, and we've got about 13 grand worth of options, just over about $13,400 worth of options.
Because that's usually what the gas engine heavy duty is good for, is value, right?
Yep.
So I think I would skip a few options like the fancy color, maybe, I don't need ventilated seats. I mean,
Yeah,
I would skip some of that stuff.
I would too.
Whoa, look at my transmission, dude.
Oh, it's shooting up a little bit, 228.
It's shot up to 228. I wouldn't start to get worried until I see like 235-ish,
Yeah, we're still in the safe zone here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming up now. It says 230.
The coolant temperature and the engine itself is still normal, 192.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's not a cold day here. I mean, it's 75 degrees outside right now, which isn't very hot, but for being up here in the mountains, that's on the warmer side for sure.
Yeah, 75 is actually one of the warmest days here, actually.
Yeah, at this elevation, 100%.
234!
Yeah, we're still climbing.
The engine is still doing great, breathing quite well. Let's just hope that this transmission stays in check and we don't have to shut it down, right, to cool off the transmission, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, at these temperatures, you're still not really looking at blowing up your transmission or
No.
anything. It's more just degrading the fluid as it starts to get really warm.
So if you're doing this if this is your route daily,
Yeah, you're going to want to change that fluid a lot.
or get a diesel, right?
Also that.
But if most of your driving is actually not doing the world's toughest towing test, that's why we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
We want to see how
Worst
strong,
case scenario.
how strong this gas engine combination is.
And we just crossed the 8-minute mark here.
Okay.
So, if this were the diesel version of the truck, basically we would be crossing the line now. We're not too far.
We're at 243 on a tranny.
Yeah, we're getting up there.
I'm getting a little bit nervous now.
We're going to be ready when things flatten out in a moment here.
To cool it off.
Yep.
And remember, we're not towing maximum load like we talked about, but we're towing a large sail.
Yeah.
The air
Very high
resistance.
profile. 13.5 feet tall.
I know. This is basically a semi-truck level of a trailer
Yeah.
as far as size is concerned.
Now, the other thing, too, worth mentioning, and it's something that Kent talked about a little bit, Mr. Truck talked about on the last test that we did with this trailer and with a GM HD truck,
Yeah.
is that where the hitch is actually mounted up is a little behind the axle. So Kent was worried, and we're about to
I had to slow down a little bit of traffic here.
Yeah, I mean, we're still not setting a record-breaking time here.
But are we better than the 2020 truck?
We're 100% better than the 2020 truck. We're under 10 minutes right now.
Okay, because that truck did it in 11 minutes 53 seconds, right?
Yeah, and we're crossing under the light here, so we'll go ahead and stop it. And it's just over 10 minutes. If this truck hadn't been in front of us,
Yeah.
then we would have been under
Probably
10 minutes.
Yeah, 10-minute run. And 2.3 mpg, which is about the same as the previous gas engine truck.
Yeah. So on that front, we're about the same. And even compared to the diesel that we tested with the same trailer, that was 3.6 mpg. So,
Well, actually, the diesel did, 3.6 to 2.3. That's almost 50% better.
yeah. I mean, I guess when you think about it as a little more than 1 mpg better, it doesn't seem that dramatic. But
At these numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, my friend, we have to rate the truck on our 5-star scale.
Yep, there are 5 different categories, and the maximum you can get is 1 full star for each.
Yeah, so uphill performance, let's start there. Okay, So first of all, it was way better than the 2020 truck.
Yeah, it was. It's a big improvement.
Even though the 2020 truck towed a little bit heavier, that trailer it towed was more aerodynamic, and this is a sail. So I would say the transmission did its job.
Yeah, it did get pretty warm. Obviously, our efficiency
Yes.
isn't great, and not tons and tons of power. So that has to be at least a little bit of a mark against.
Yeah, so what would you say? I would say half a star.
I think so.
Yeah. On the way downhill, we have to compare it against other gas engines, right? It's not really fair comparing it to diesels.
Yeah, different price category.
And different equipment, right?
Yeah.
So on the downhill 6 brake applications, I think for a gasoline engine with that weight, I think that's actually good performance.
Yeah, it's actually really good, and the 10-speed transmission did exactly what we wanted it to on the way down.
Downshifted.
Did a pretty decent job of maintaining speed.
How about full star? Are you okay with that?
Full star, yeah.
Okay, full star. Number 3, towing features. We're talking about, the ease of hooking up a trailer, visibility, brake controllers, cameras. I think this truck's got it.
Yeah, I mean, that premium package that's fitted to this truck adds tons of camera views, which is really nice.
So full star there.
Yep.
I mean, and also we can turn tight corners.
Yeah.
There's still enough bed space, right?
It's a longer bed.
Comfort, suspension, squat, and handling. I think it also did really well in this category.
It did. This is a surprisingly comfortable truck, even unladen, but with the trailer, it handled the weight really well.
And it was also quiet. We measured it.
Yeah, it was really good.
So full star there. That's 3.5 stars.
Yeah, so far,
Out of
which is
4.
pretty good.
But overall efficiency and range.
That's the tough part,
Ugh.
because, yeah, this is not a very efficient powertrain, and it's a 36-gallon tank, so a range.
For towing specifically. So on flat ground, I averaged about 6 mpg.
Yep.
It's obviously worse in the mountains. 36 gallons. That means you're still under 200 miles of total range towing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really enough.
No, it would be nice to have either a bigger tank or be getting better numbers when it comes to efficiency.
So I think this is where the diesel really comes into its own,
It does.
right? So I would give it, a 1/4 star?
That's, I feel like, the most that we can give it.
So 3.75 stars out of 5. Still pretty good performance,
Yeah.
better than before. Would you buy it versus a diesel?
You know what I would do personally is I would skimp on a few of the luxury features, camera angles, things that this truck has, and I would go ahead and go for the diesel in a more basic truck spec.
Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Now you know exactly what you're buying or not buying
Exactly.
when getting a heavy-duty truck. Thanks for joining us as always.
See you next time.